How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review, and a little bit of new beer time in the form of Kings County Brewers Collective. It's their Komputer phone, German-style IPA. German-style IPA. What does that mean? Not quite sure. What I think it means, though, just from a kind of distance, is obviously German hops. Now, typically when you think about German hops, you think about old school beer. You think about your wheat beers, your Reinheitsgebot beers, basically. But German hops have come a infinitely long way over the past couple of years. They've actually gotten pretty creative, pretty what's the word I'm looking for? A bit more robust, a bit more impactful. So, could be old school, could be new school. Not quite sure what's going on, but we're gonna dive into it, see what she's got. As far as what it says in the can itself, it says Komputer phone. KCBC, Kings County Brewers Collective, German style IPA, 6.8% alcohol by volume, and that's pretty much it. A lot of like old school kind of analog, graphical kind of interface stuff, computer pad wise, a little bit of circuitry going on. Now, you're talking about a computer phone with a K, and you're talking about a German style IPA. I'm going to say this is an homage to fucking Kraftwerk. It has to be. Anything that says computer phone and it is a German style IPA, it just has to be Kraftwerky. It just has to be. So, somebody out there from the KCBC, I'll learn that eventually, reach out and let me know, because honestly, that's exactly what it has to be. But label-wise, I like it. I'm not blown away. The graphics are a little bit too kind of cartoony for me, but, beggars can't be choosers. So let's see what we have going on right now. Okay, first things first. What do you see here? Clarity. You see super clearness. I mean, that is, for almost 7% beer, you're talking about infinitely clear. I mean, it just looks like piss, basically. Just light yellow, infinitely clear, ever so slightest bit of murkiness, and the whitest of white head you could possibly imagine. It's super beveled. The head is got okay kind of creaminess going on top, pretty rocky in the edges, but I mean that lacing that the head's attached to is about that deep down. You can actually see it kind of, well, I can't, you can't on the camera. It's just kind of clinging there and just kind of beveled super deep. But yeah, I mean, that's super clear. Now, German style IPA, sure. I mean, you're talking about the old school beers, you're talking about clarity beers. It kind of makes sense. But also, the Kings County Brewers Collective sounds like a group. I know them. I've had a couple of their beers before, never reviewed them before. But typically we're talking about homebrew people, which I'm not saying they are, but usually when you're talking about a Brewers Collective, it's usually a bunch of homebrewers coming together. Clarity tends to be a kind of boner point for a lot of homebrewers, something that they aspire to. So it kind of makes sense that this is super clear. So yeah, very, very, very minimal and subtle carbonation. And that be that. So yeah, will I spill it everywhere? See if we can get a nose on her. Old school. Definitely old school in the hops. Or not necessarily in the hops, but how the hops are used. I'm getting a lot of citrus, a lot of like skinny stone fruitiness. This is all skin. This is all pithy skinniness. Your citrus skin, your grapefruit skin, your orange skin, your kind of like a tangerine skin, your nectarine kind of skin. So it's going from your stone fruits to your kind of citrus fruits, but very skinny. And there's a sweetness there, but there's a bit of bittering there, but nothing too overtly bittering. But definitely skewing on the sweet side. So yeah, definitely leans old school, but a little bit sweeter than the legit old schoolness. So she looks old school. She smells old school. Let's see what she tastes like. Really curious about this one. Cheers. That is dangerous. Because what that is vibrant in the nose. You're talking about beer that is hopped predominantly for the nose, but in the mouth, infinitely clean. I mean, you're talking about so clean it is, dare I say, squeaky? Even beyond squeaky clean, it's super clean, super quick, but at the same time, there is an impact there. Mostly bittering, but it pops you, hangs around for a bit. Let's take another sip. It's kind of, that's how this beer runs. Is it a German IPA? I don't know what that means. German-based ingredients, as I said earlier, but in general, it's not necessarily beer you would actually kind of associate with a country. There's no such thing as a German IPA, but like I said, I'm assuming based off the profile, based off the hops that are given here, based off the nose, it's kind of new school German hops used in a kind of more Reinheitsgebot kind of born kind of beer. The clarity on this, the cleanliness on this kind of screams just old school refinement. But at the same time, it has a touch of the new school, enough to kind of bring it home and make it a little bit kind of something that would tickle a lot of the brewers' fancy. Let's put it this way. There's comedians. There's a lot of comedians out there. There's a ton of hilarious comedians. There's piss and fart jokes. There's the, Jim Jeffries of the world. There's that comedian world, this comedian in the world. But then there's the comedian's comedian. Louis C.K.'s of the world. This, to me, is like a brewer's beer. A beer that, public folk, I don't even know how to phrase that, general normies, as I like to call them, normal folk, will dig this. This is more of kind of like a, let's see if I can turn a brewer on. Let's see if I can get a brewer, get their boner kind of a little bit harder than normal. And I think they accomplish it pretty damn well. So yeah, super vibrant on the nose. Nice, relatively dense mouthfeel with a really nice, infinitely squeaky cleanness, kind of beerness. So those are all legit words in the mouth. But enough kind of sweet, fruity, dare I say, pseudo juiciness in the nose, but a nice kind of hefty, dense bitterness in the mouth. And they both kind of balance each other. Even though one's a nose, one's a mouth. Clean, crisp, impactful, and very nerdy. It's a nerdy beer, as it goes with craft work, because only nerds love craft work. So there you go. So not too bad of a little jammer from the KCBC, the Kings County Brewers Collective. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Actually, I have to go through the whole thing. I totally skipped it. It's one of the better double IPAs, or Imperial IPAs, or German IPAs. What do you want to call it? 6.8%. Let's go just American, pseudo-German American IPAs. Is it one of the better ones of those I've had? Well, I've only had one of those. Is it one of the better base IPAs I've had? No. Is it one of the more funner ones I've had? One of the more interesting ones? Yes. Due to the vibrance of the nose and the cleanliness of the mouth, combined with everything that's wrapped around it, it's just a nice, refreshing break from what everybody produces. So that's pretty fucking awesome. Value and availability, I'm not going to speak to that. I bought this up at a bar in New York today. I was in Manhattan for a conference. Went to a bar. They had cans. Way overpriced. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to buy one anyway. So I bought it. So I'm not going to speak to that. Maybe somebody out there can actually tell me the availability and the actual pricing on it. And just say if you like what we like. If you like clean beers, crisp beers, well-made beers. If you like beers to be textbooky, but at the same time a little bit kind of out of bounds, it's worth picking up. Because it is nice. I mean, it was canned, just for you date Nazis out there, a couple days ago. And looks like here the 5th. This is the 10th. No, it's the 15th. Anyway, it's about 10 days old. Let's put it that way, give or take. So if you're into kind of just crisp, clean, well-made beers, it's worth picking up because it is fun as fuck. Especially if you're into old school beers. Just reminds me a lot of like old schoolish style beers that just were more about trying not to poop on things right now with my analogies, but more about substance and circumstance. Let's put it that way. There you go. Now another review is in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, anywhere in between, please leave a comment in the comment section below, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, all 4 of those places. If you want to check me out anywhere else. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice German-style IPA right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.